Welcome, everyone, to Sports Shorts, a special Monday, Memorial Day, NCAA Selection Edition, NCAA Baseball Selection Edition of Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBears Casino. TK joining us today, courtesy of Court Street Cafe in historic downtown Port Allen. And, of course, we are always presented by LeBears, and I am in an undisclosed location presented by Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. But that undisclosed location is Pete Goldsby Field, as we are literally 1, 2, 3 days away from Rougarou starting. Thursday, the 30th, 7 o'clock game right here at Pete Goldsby Field, historic Pete Goldsby Field. We're going to have opening day this Thursday. Come on out. It's going to be an awesome event. And then Friday night, fireworks Friday night. Do we know yet what time the Tigers play?
They play at 11 a.m. Friday.
There you go. Beautiful. 11 a.m. Friday. No reason why you can't go to the first two Rougarou games Thursday night and Friday night. Looking forward to it. Everybody thought they were smart. Everybody thought they knew better. Everybody thought that everybody thought it was going to be Oklahoma State regional. Instead, East Coast. Oklahoma State, I think, would have gotten a few more LSU fans there, with the fan base of Texas being gigantic with alumni, an easier drive, probably, 8 or 9 hours versus what, I don't know, maybe 12, something like that. So, but that said, LSU, East Coast, North Carolina, regional, number 2 seed, 11 teams out of the SEC, 6 teams out of the state of Louisiana, which is tied for a record. College baseball is here. And how about the Tulane Green Wave? Tulane left for dead 2 years in a row. They punched their ticket to the big dance thanks to winning their conference tournament. Tulane's going to be a 4 seed in the Oregon State Regional, and Nichols is a 3 seed. I mean, that's got to be the first time that's ever happened, that Nichols, the Southland Conference champion, tournament champion, not regular season, but Nichols going dancing for the second year in a row. Last year, they pulled the double, the regular season and the tournament. This year, they just won the tournament. But Nichols and Tulane will be sharing a flight to Corvallis to take on Oregon State.
Yeah, that's a little bit different, Dick. Or UC Irvine's, who Nichols will play first. So we know about them. They played in the last series ever at the Old Box. So, yeah, it was great to see 6 Louisiana teams in. Tech kind of got in, by virtue of they finished second in their tournament, but was their regular season champs. And ties a record that's over 20 years old with having 6 teams. Grambling winning the SWAC was big. And then, of course, LSU and the Raging Cajuns. They get to go over to College Station. They'll be joined over there by Grambling, so there'll be plenty of flavor over there with Texas A&M. And, of course, LSU going to play the Wofford Terriers from the Southern Conference. They are from Spartanburg, South Carolina, which, by the way, is the home of the Marshall Tucker Band. I had to throw that in there. They got a first-year coach for the Terriers, and I want to say they played in Baton Rouge many years ago. I'd have to look that one up. Now, here's the thing that everybody's already talking about, Ron. At the LSU Chapel Hill Regional is paired with the Tucson Regional for, if we want to look down the road to super regional action. The Tucson Regional, hosted by Arizona, has Grand Canyon, West Virginia, and Dallas Baptist. They're already talking about it. If Arizona doesn't come out of that, Matt Moscona reported that LSU did bid for a super regional should there be an upset in Tucson. So I guess the door's not closed on hosting a super, provided LSU can take care of business. And and you got and Wofford's a decent team, but North Carolina is the number 4 national seed. So you got that work in front of you there. But all the speculation begins, and I guess we got to go with the fact that they're going to play at 11 o'clock Friday morning. Doesn't interfere with the Rougarou. That's a plus. And then it'll be on ESPNU Friday morning.
Look, LSU is going to be one of the most dangerous 2 seeds out there. Nobody wants to see LSU. I thought Mississippi State probably got hosed with 17 and 13 during the regular season as far as coasting a conference regional. I thought Mississippi State could have probably justified hosting a regional, especially with that venue. I mean, that's a lot of people, a lot of money the NCAA is leaving on the table at Duty Noble Field. So that was a surprise. Only 5 SEC teams hosting regionals. But LSU, Mississippi State, Florida is a 3 seed. Everybody else out of the SEC is a 2 seed. And right now, LSU is playing as good as anybody. I mean, Jay Johnson has said it. They had the tying run on second base yesterday when they lost to Tennessee, who's the #1 overall national seed. So the Tigers will be super dangerous. I love the fact that I love how the NCAA, they do this often. They like to do storylines, right? You got Texas and Texas A&M are playing in the same regional over in College Station. You got Jay Johnson with an opportunity to win and go against his old school, Arizona, where he led them to the College World Series twice. Tigers would be traveling to Tucson if they get out of the Chapel Hill Regional. They do that often. We've seen over the years, Miami and Florida State or Florida and Florida State. They try that regional matchups. They try for the storylines, and so this is really one of those that's super exciting. I mean, imagine the emotion and the what it's going to be like in the Johnson household if LSU gets out of Chapel Hill and has to travel to Tucson to take on Arizona. The emotions and all the memories and all the thoughts. I mean, Jay Johnson, by leaving to Arizona to come to Baton Rouge, probably in his mind thought, we'll never face them outside of the College World Series. Well, they may make it to that. LSU has to go through Tucson to get to the College World Series. I'm super happy for Louisiana Tech. I was surprised they got a 2 seed. They did. They're not a 3 seed. They're a 2 seed. Obviously Nichols and Tulane are in, and they played their way in. They won their conference tournaments. Grambling won its conference tournament, the SWAC tournament. Remember, Grambling beat LSU, earlier this year. Was it Grambling or Southern? I'm drawing a blank. It was Southern. Southern beat LSU earlier this year. That's right. Southern beat LSU earlier this year.
LSU run ruled Grambling.
That's right. LSU run ruled Grambling. Although Grambling had one player that had the big game. That kid transferred from Arkansas. They had like 3 or 4 hits against LSU in that Grambling game. But
Ronnie, the other thing about the A&M regional, the Raging Cajuns are going to open with the Texas Longhorns, who, as we know, will be in the SEC next year. So Texas A&M and Texas, the crowds over there are going to be nuts. And then you throw in the Raging Cajuns, they're going to travel well over to College Station. Grambling, they'll bring some fans, but they'll be the first one out in that. It'll be a 3-way battle, I think. But so the Raging Cajuns with Texas and Texas A&M, it'll be a loud ballpark.
And very much a winnable game for the Raging Cajuns. I mean, they
got some players.
They're a good team. Texas is not as good as they've been in the past. I'm looking this up real quick, Tommy.
Well,
I know that
while you look that up, I'm going to say Nookie points out the way the brackets are set with all 64 teams. In theory, it's possible for the SEC to get 8 teams to Omaha. Okay, they usually don't let it set up that way. Now, a long way to go, a lot of ground to cover. But, and of course, the rest of the NCAA with crayons, but who cares about the NCAA anymore? They've showed that they're foolish and don't know how to lead, don't know how to run an organization. But that's an interesting thing because, it's always been a thing like, how many teams from the SEC are going to go to Omaha? Well, in theory, you could have 8 this year. And that would be, I guess, the SEC tournament north, and the one south was last week in Hoover. What you looking up?
I was looking it up. I was looking it up because I knew the Raging Cajuns. They went to Houston for that, Minute Maid Astros tournament, and in that tournament, the Raging Cajuns did not face Texas. I was looking to see if maybe they faced Texas. The Cajuns went 0-3. They lost to Vanderbilt. They lost to Houston, and they lost to one other team, LSU. While they were over there, but they did not face Texas. The Longhorns, by the way, went 0-3 as well at that Astros college tournament that the one that Tigers win. So, winnable game, and of course the storyline there is everybody's anticipating if Texas and Texas A&M win, they'll face each other in a regional. That's always exciting. They faced, and of course they'll be in the SEC together next year. But this could be one of the last times they meet outside of conference. Lamar, I want to say that I feel bad for Will Davis and Lamar. They did not make the NCAA tournament. They won the regular season championship. They beat Oklahoma. They swept Oklahoma earlier in the season, back in February, I believe. it's always goes back to those mid majors, those smaller conferences. What's more important? Is it the tournament, or is it the being dominant over 2 months? And Lamar won the regular season. They went 0-2 in their conference tournament. They play a good schedule. They had some nice out of conference wins. Of course, the Oklahoma sweeping of Oklahoma team, a regional host team that is a surprise that they're not in, but they weren't one of the first 4 teams out. They weren't even really in consideration. That shows you how weak the Southland Conference was this year. It was a 1-bid league, and Nichols got that bid.
Yeah, it's tough on Will Davis. I was hoping they'd be in. Kept waiting for that name to pop up. Did not occur. And it is. Not only did they sweep Oklahoma, they swept them in Norman, which is one of the host sites, so regional host sites. So that's just a very, very tough break. And hey, if you get yourself in that spot, as there are some, the first 4 out were Cal, Charleston, Cincinnati, and TCU. TCU had a pretty good year. Got some good arms. Got a former major leaguer, Coach Sarlos, coaching them, and didn't get in. But every year when you pick 64, there's going to be 5, 6, 7 of them that are like, because you do have a team in there with a losing record, and Florida's in there at 21 game above 500. So, but is Florida better than Lamar? I guess that's a fair question. Florida, the 11th team from the SEC in, are they better than Lamar, who didn't do well at their conference tournament, which was in Hammond, by the way.
By the way, speaking of Florida, how about this? Florida, Wake Forest, and LSU. None of them are hosting a regional. I mean, you think back to last year, LSU, Florida in the championship game, Wake Forest, a run away from the championship game. None of those teams are hosting a regional. All of them are on the road. And TCU, a blue blood program really over the last 25 years, not even in a regional. Vanderbilt not hosting. It's crazy year. I mean, you think between Vanderbilt, Wake Forest, LSU, Florida, it's none of them are hosting. TCU not in the dance. It's nuts.
Well, a lot of conversation today. I watched that show, obviously. East Carolina got in. They struggled down the stretch, don't have the greatest record. This is the 5th time in 6 years they hosted. A lot of people saying Mississippi State. You talked about Mississippi State. That'd been a lot of money for the NCAA because no matter who else was there, it would be crowded in Starkville. And, but they didn't get to host. So I'm a little surprised only 5 SEC teams. It seems like Mississippi State should have got in there as a host. But, hey, they'll get in there, they'll go play and see what happens. But it's going to be a fun tournament. All the things start on Friday, okay? And then Monday is a rain-out day if you get some rain around the country. And we remind you, LSU plays at 11 o'clock Louisiana time Friday morning against the Wofford Terriers of the Southern Conference, 11 a.m. on ESPNU.
It was a crazy week in Birmingham. I kept thinking the Paul Maneri SEC tournament horseshoe. Ever since Coach Maneri took over in 06 or 07 season, 06 fall, the LSU in the SEC tournament has had a horseshoe. Some years when they weren't very good, they won it. Some years when they weren't very good, they had a run. Crazy things happened in that tournament. And that's how it was this year. So the horseshoe got passed on to Jay Johnson. It was a wild week in Hoover. Tigers played well. Of course, the Milam homer and, the Braswell, my God, the way he swung the bat at times, the 20 plus. Tommy White, 2 homers. The guy had 2 homers a month into the season. Tommy had 2 homers. And now he's at 24? It's incredible. Incredible how this guy turned it on in the toughest part of the season. It's just amazing. If you had any doubt he was a first-round pick, stop. What he's done offensively for the 3 years of his career, and then defensively what he's brought to the table this year, absolutely. And it's amazing. And then Jones just keeps hitting bombs. It's probably going to be a hard for LSU to keep him. He's draft-eligible sophomore. But, the guy's going to hit in. He's probably going to end up with 25, 26 home runs on the year. That's hard for right-handed power hitters. Unless his number is just too big, unless he's asking for $4 million and they only want to give him $2 million, maybe he comes back for a third season, but don't count on it. But the LSU's, the way Ackenhausen pitched for his 2 1/3 innings was unbelievable. Maybe the best 2 1/3 he's thrown since he's been a Tiger. And then jump and and Holman are just so locked in right now. It's right now this team is hitting its stride, and they've got a little magic on their side as well.
3.5 weeks ago, Ronnie, there was a legitimate question: would they even be in the postseason? Okay, it was a very fair question. Well, they got hot at the right time, and Jay Johnson said it on the set the other day. They're playing the best. They're the best team in the country right now. In his mind, the way they're playing, of course, he's not going to say anything other than that. But just so many good things from Hoover that will develop confidence. And look, I guarantee you, those folks at the North Carolina Regional, not just North Carolina, but the other teams that are there, they're thinking, hey, we got LSU here. And Long Island is the other team along with North Carolina. Long Island's the 4 seed from New York. Anything can happen, but you got to like the way LSU played in Hoover and down the stretch in the SEC with the sweep of Ole Miss. Anything can happen. It's baseball.
It's wild. Speaking of baseball, the Baton Rouge Rougarou, rocking the shirt right here. We're at Goldsby Field. Let me give you a little peek here. Over here, working on the field, getting everything ready. You see, you got some of the bunting up. We are 3 days away, getting the place looking really nice. 3 days away from opening day. So the great thing is Thursday, 7 o'clock. Friday, 7 o'clock. Friday, we'll have fireworks during the 7th inning stretch. We got a 5-minute fireworks show. That's fantastic. You don't want to miss it. And this Thursday is opening day. We've got a really good team, a lot of fun, entertainment in between every inning. Like, it's minor league baseball, so it's not like you sit back and it's boring. I mean, the music cranking, the minor league baseball with all the fun stuff going on in between. The mascot running around, the fun jumps for the kids. I got the cold beer for the parents. Come on out, have a good time this Thursday, opening day. Be in that number. Get your Rougarou gear. We got the merchandise tent ready to go for you when you get here. Or you can go to brrougarou.com, get your season tickets. How about season passes? Only $100. You and a guest get in free. That's $2 a game for all the games that we have this year. It's incredible. We're looking forward to it, man. The coaches and players will be here tomorrow. We'll have a workout at 3 o'clock on the field tomorrow and Wednesday. It's open to the public. You want to come by and watch the game, and then of course, LSU plays a Friday at 11 a.m., so not going to be in anywhere near Rougarou time. So come on out this Thursday and Friday. Looking forward to having you. What else, TK, is going on?
Well, a couple other things, Ronnie. Lady Tiger softball team won the first game of the Stanford Regional, lost the next two to what many consider the best pitcher in the country for Stanford, big right-hander. LSU didn't score in game 2 and 3. It's tough to win when you don't score, but nonetheless, a great season for Beth Arena and the softball team. And then, Ronnie, about an hour ago, the news came out. Bill Walton passed away at the age of 71 after a battle with cancer. And, of course, the full of highlight clips of him as an announcer. And then my favorite quote, which I posted on Facebook, John Wooden told Bill Walton, "Your best is good enough."
So Bill Walton, I really enjoyed him. It's a shame that he passed away. 71 years old is way too young. That was the age my dad passed away 3 years ago. And it seems like, I've paid attention, obviously, to that number 71, and so many people have died at 71. That is just way, way, way too young. I think almost 10 years earlier than the average. But I'll have a Bill Walton story. When Shaquille O'Neal was playing at LSU, I was in the Broussard Hall having lunch one day, going through the buffet, and Bill Walton was there. He was in town. He was working for LA Gear. LSU was an LA Gear school 1 or 2 seasons, wearing those high tops. And Shaq, of course, was playing for the LSU. And I remember one day Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came, and then another time Bill Walton came, and they were working with Shaq. And I think they were being paid by LA Gear to come rep them. And got a chance to visit with Bill Walton at the salad bar. And that was a big thrill because I was a Celtics fan. Of course, at the end of his career, he played for the Celtics with Larry Bird, was on a championship team. I think their 16th title as a franchise. And just always thought he was a great broadcaster, a lot of fun, funny, great personality, never grew up, hippie till he died, and sad to hear about his passing.
Well, Ronnie, while at UCLA, and when I was a kid, I thought the letters UCLA stood for basketball, okay? That's not an original line. A lot of people have said that. 2 times at UCLA, they went 30-0 and won national titles, and Bill Walton in the national championship game against Memphis State went 21 for 22 from the floor. The only bucket that didn't count, you couldn't dunk back then, but he jumped up and dropped it in. and they called offensive goaltending and said he got in the cylinder. Otherwise, he'd have been 22 for 22 from the floor as the Bruins. They won many titles, and he was the reason for 2 of them. And then won a title with the Portland Trailblazers in the NBA. Jack Ramsey as coach, and Maurice Lucas, some other good players on that team, and Bill Walton, certainly a character, big Grateful Dead fan. And then his other line, Ronnie, I could say it. They were talking to him about defensive stance in basketball, and he said, this was when he was an announcer, he goes, look, I was a lot better at getting high than getting low.
Bill Walton dead at the age of 71. He will be missed. No, what a character. Not many people like him. He was the original. He was one of a kind. Tommy, tell us about Court Street Cafe. I'm gonna get out of here from Pete Goolsby Field. We're literally hooking up the sound system and all that right now. We're blowing out the stadium, getting all nice and clean for everybody, getting all the peanut shells picked up from the spring. And we will see everybody Thursday night, 7 p.m. Gates open at 6. This Thursday and Friday, 7 p.m. game time. The gates open at 6. Come on out. Baton Rouge, Rougarou, right at Pete Goolsby Field Historic. You know where Memorial Stadium is, where Catholic High plays football, right by where the state capitol is. It's literally next door to Memorial, literally 100 yards off the interstate. There's an exit, get off the interstate, hang a left, bam. You're here, you get right back on the interstate. You don't have to go far into a neighborhood or anything like that. It's right there, easy parking, covered stands, great food. We don't sell anything at the concession stand, Tommy, that I wouldn't endorse or personally eat. I have tested it. We got Tremonti's burgers. We got Tremonti's sausage. We have a Rougarou sausage this year. It's stuffed with jalapenos and cheese. You're going to want to try that. We got Hebrew National hot dogs and just lots of, pulled pork sandwiches and popcorn, you name it. Come on out this week. We'll see you at the ballpark. Tommy, take it away.
All right, brrougarou.com for all those tickets and merchandise. We want you to check that out. Now, on Wednesday, we'll be out at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen, back to our 9 o'clock slot in the morning. We moved today because of the NCAA baseball tournament selection show, but we'll be at Court Street Cafe on Wednesday, 9 a.m. for another episode of Sports Shorts Daily. And then this Friday, we'll be back over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, 9 a.m. Friday. And don't forget, Tremonti's providing the hot dogs, the sausage, the hamburgers, and everything else. Big sponsor of the Baton Rouge, Rougarou, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Mike and the staff. Need you to like and share this show. That helps us. Whether you're on Facebook, X, or YouTube, hit the like button, hit the share button. That helps us and all of our marketing partners that we have. So we want you to do that. And again, remember and honor. It's Memorial Day. There's a reason why we're remembering and honoring those that gave everything for this country, for our country. Memorial Day, remember and honor. And our presenting sponsor, as always, of Sports Shorts Daily and Sports Shorts Radio, the LeBares Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge, where you've got the sports book, the bet on the college baseball, the NBA playoffs, Major League Baseball, and much, much more at LeBares Casino and Hotel. And Craig Show and Josh jumping on saying afternoon. Appreciate all the comments today from Craig and Nookie and Chris B. dicking them. Nookie, I've got a lot of good comments today. Appreciate it all. Hey, like and share. We appreciate you watching. We'll talk to you again Wednesday morning, back on at 9 a.m. On behalf of Ronnie Rance and the Baton Rouge Rougarou, I'm Tommy Krysan. Have a great afternoon, everyone.